talk about is presenting yourself with purpose in the online world and in the real world, right? Both are equally important. You will be meeting a lot of people face to face. You will be getting that one opportunity to say who you are and what you're looking for, and why making this comeback or making this restart is important for you. And similarly, we're all now present online. So even whether you like it or not, whether you realize it or not, somebody is checking who you are, what have you done, and why you may be a good fit for them, right? So I will just share my screen here, and we'll get started. Right? Can everybody see that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So before we get into the core session, what I'm really going to talk about is some of the assumptions that I will come with when I do a session like this. The primary one is that we all have certain skills and qualifications. We want to put these skills and qualifications to good use, right? And we are willing to invest the time, the energy, the money to make that happen, right? That's a very important assumption I'm making, and that's something that I'd like each of you all to also think about. Why are you here today, right? What is that larger purpose in your mind? How important is it to you? Because that is what is going to motivate you day in and day out. It's not going to be an easy journey, right? Whether you're restarting a career, whether you're starting as a fresher, whether you're in a significant career and you're trying to make a change or move ahead, it's never easy, right? There are hundreds of qualified people around us. We're all vying for similar jobs. So we have to make that little bit of effort to stand out, to be taken seriously, and to be able to express why we are the best fit for the job, right? So those are my assumptions. And with with the larger theme of what Sheetal is trying to do, really try to help you remove this huge burden of self-doubt that we really all carry, right? Are we qualified enough? Is this the right time? Am I doing it the right way? Am I approaching this the right way? So many thoughts come to our mind which can tend to derail us. But if we put a little bit of plan and a little bit of strategy into it, we can figure out what best works best for each of us, and just keep at it till we get what we want. There's a very interesting analogy that if someone told you that there's a deck of 52 cards, and you have to turn them one by one, and when you turn the right one, you will get a job, right? So what would we do? We have nothing to lose, right? We keep turning the card one by one, and even if it's the 52nd card, doesn't matter, right? We just have to keep at it, because that one day, that one thing will click, and we will get into what we are looking for, right? So let's start with the real world, right? When we say speak for yourself, right? Each of us gets typically, many occasions where we meet old friends, we meet ex-colleagues, we go for professional or social events, and you meet someone who you think you would like to know, who may help you with your restart career, who may be able to introduce you to someone who can help you with your restart, right? And for this, it's very important that we practice our introduction, right? We take it seriously. We even write it down if required, right? Think about those 30 seconds to a minute that you're going to get with someone who maybe doesn't know you at all, or maybe just knows or has heard of you through someone else. What are you going to say to them? What are you going to explain? How are you going to talk to them about why you are reaching out, what kind of help you may need in the future from them, right? You won't get a lot of time. You may get 30 seconds, 1 minute, a couple of minutes. So what is it that you're going to say in that time, right? A few pointers here for you, like replace was with am, right? That's a very powerful statement that you're making when you're introducing yourself, right? It gives them an idea of how confident you are about what you used to do, what you're doing right now, and what you want to do, right? And all of these have been choices that you have made for yourself. There's no need to be defensive about anything, guilty about anything. Take a lot of pride in saying that you are an IT professional, right? If you worked in the IT industry, you are an IT professional. There is no need to say, I was an IT professional just because currently I am not fully employed, right? These are little things, but these, when you think about it and when you say it out loud, you realize how much of a difference it makes in one, the impression that you create, and two, in your own self confidence, right? You have to remind yourself constantly that, while right now your day may be filled with many things that don't even remotely look like a corporate day, you are what you are qualified to be, right? So I am an IT professional. I worked as a team lead at so and so place. I managed this, I did this project, I did that project. Write it down, say it aloud to yourself, and use as many of the positive reinforcing words as you can, right? Talk about what you did and what you can do, right? Let your introduction not begin with what you can't do. I'm looking to get back, but I can't work full time. I was something, I don't know if I can do it right now. I've forgotten what the trends were, or the trends have changed, or the technology has changed, right? Move to what you do know, what you can do, right? Even if it means something as simple as saying, I'm a really quick learner, like the time when we moved from technology A to B and I was ahead of the curve. I can do something similar again. I'm looking for a similar role to what I was doing. I managed finance and accounts, and I'd like to get back into the same field. I managed finance and accounts, and during this break, I have done a lot of writing and I have read a lot of popular blogs, and I am ready for a content writing role. Right? Think about what you can do. Right? There are a lot of things which we can't do, which we can't control. Right? Let's think about what we can do. Look for common interests. Right? When you meet somebody, you want to break the ice. You want to not jump right into, can I give you my resume, right? It'll not really be the ideal opening statement that you want to make, no matter how important that person could be for your restart career, right? Try to see, ask questions, try to find out if there's maybe the same, you come from the same town, you were in the same college, you have a common friend, or you used to work for the same organization. And many times, even if you just take a little effort, and that this person is going to be there at that event, right? Try to find out what you can about them, right? There's a lot of information about each of us in the public domain. Try to see what is it that is their interest. Maybe they're a mountain climber, or maybe they like going scuba diving, and that's an interest that you share. Try to figure out what information is there in the public domain that you can use to start this conversation and to build a rapport, right? The first time you meet someone, and put yourself in their shoes, you don't like to be immediately asked a favor, right? You don't like to be immediately, someone comes up to you and say, hey, can you do this for me, right? You want to build that relationship. You want to even take the time to figure out what exactly do you want from this person, what is their role, what way can they help you. Are they in HR? Are they in a hiring, are they a hiring manager? Are they a decision maker? Are you looking to connect with them again, or maybe you're looking to connect with someone they know in that organization, right? What is it about the organization that interests you, right? So you will have to really do a little bit of homework when you know that you're going to meet somebody of interest, um, and that it could be potentially useful for you. But remember that the public domain and being online has its drawbacks. So sometimes you end up knowing a little more about a person than maybe they intended. So the idea is not to stalk somebody, not to say that, hey, I saw that you were in Bali last week with your family, right? It's not to get overly comfortable, saying that you know so much about them, but to use it to your advantage, right? Then we go to the online world. And if you notice, when I say online, I'm talking about a resume, right? Something which till a few years back was still 3-4 pieces of paper neatly stapled together and probably even signed on the last page, right? That doesn't exist anymore. A resume is now completely online. It's a PDF document. It's even a link to a site. It's a video resume. It's just a graphic resume. So there are so many ways in which you can present your resume, and so many ways in which the entire concept of a resume has changed, right? What is the job of a good resume? Right? The job of a good resume is only to get you that call, right? It's to garner interest in your profile, to attract interest in your profile, to get you that call for the interview, right? The resume is not going to get you the job, right? So if you send in a resume to 50 prospective employers and you're thinking, oh, I didn't get the job, you're not going to get the job. You're going to get an opportunity to present yourself, and that's what you need to be ready for, through practicing your introduction, through thinking through what you want, why you want that organization. This is just going to help you open the door. Now, all of us who have been hiring managers know that you get flooded with tons of resumes, right? It really is not practical, and no HR or hiring manager will typically read every word in a resume. It is usually, we only have time to glance at it. Many times we're glancing at it when the person has walked in for an interview, right? Somebody else has made the decision to call them for an interview. We have been told that they're there and we now need to interview them, right? So remember that you get hardly 7 to 10 seconds when managers glancing at a resume to make an impression with that document. So it's very important that what you say is crisp, concise, and it delivers what you want, right? Don't try to pander to somebody what you think they may want to see, right? Because finally, through a resume, through an interview, and through various interactions, the authenticity of the person will come out, right? Who you are, whether you are genuine about why you want to join there or what you hope to do there, it will come out. And the more honest you are at every stage, the easier it is. So coming back to the resume, a resume is a professional summary, right? It is no longer 5-6 pages of details of every little thing that you did in the workplace and every institute that you attended. Even a 1-page resume is too long sometimes, because that's not nobody has the time to read everything that you have to say, right? So remember the key sections: the profile summary, which would be on top, your work experience in neat chronological order, what your achievements are, and what your educational qualifications are, right? You do not need to mention your age, your date of birth, your marital status. All these are not relevant to your capability and the reason why you are qualified for the job, right? If it comes up in an interview, you can choose how you want to answer it, but it is not something that you have to put right out there, especially because you think that I'm restarting. They may need to know what my family background is. No, that is of no relevance. If you are as qualified for the job as anyone else, right? It's your achievements and your educational qualifications and your work experience that will speak, right? And anyway, let the HR guy do some work, right? If you've got 15 years of experience, that there's a rough number to say how old you are. If you've got 15 years of experience and 5 years of break, they can add 20 to about 15 years of 15 to 20 years of education. Leave that to the person who is hiring. You don't have to put this information out there, and especially out of any sense of guilt, or you feel you're hiding something, etc. No need at all. Let's look at these sections in a little more detail, right? For the summary, right? You have a summary and you have a section of your work experience. Now try not to overlap them too much, because as it is, you get only so much space to say what you want. So the idea in summary is not to really summarize your work experience. The idea is to be very forward looking, right? To say what is it that you want? What is it that you are looking for? Because your work experience, and especially as a restarter, your work experience may be in a couple of industries, and now you may be looking to start in a third completely new industry. So let that come out in your summary, saying that your experience is in fashion and textile. I am now equipped to look for jobs in the content writing space, in the digital marketing space, in data analytics, etc. Right? So when somebody quickly looks at that summary, they know why you are there. They know what you are looking for. You can say, I'm open to jobs in data analytics, in digital marketing, etc., which could involve travel, which could involve relocation. Say what you want to say upfront so that they are not second guessing. And if it appeals to them, you quickly make the cut, right? Then we come to the work experience. More than, where you worked, focus on what your achievements were and what your responsibilities were. In many resumes I see, let's say for example, they would say team lead at Infosys, and the next 3 lines would go on to describe Infosys. Infosys is a multinational foreign Fortune 500 company, blah blah blah. You don't need to tell them that. This is expensive real estate where you are talking about yourself, right? Don't waste it on information which the hiring manager would already know. Specify achievements, specify your responsibility. If you were a team lead, what were your day-to-day responsibility and what did you achieve, right? State your years in the role, state your designation and your location clearly so that it's very obvious. Avoid very company specific acronyms. When you're describing a project that you did or when you're describing a tool that you worked on, if it's not an industry standard, right, explain what it is, right? If you just say I worked on JKLM, right, that means nothing to somebody who has never been aware of what were the software or what were the tools or projects in Infosys, right? Explain that this I worked on an automation software to help payroll processing, right? You can choose to give the name, but it may not mean anything to the hiring manager. So unless it's an industry tool, like if you're saying that you worked on CAD or CAM, which anybody in the design space would know, you can avoid very company specific acronyms, which will prompt them to unnecessarily ask what it is, or it may cause them to ignore it completely. Right? When you come to your education, state your full name clearly and in a standard convention. Your university or institute may have had some terminology for the degree, for the diploma, for the certification. Try to use as much as you can standard convention in explaining it. Right? So this is just for a sample, a resume of once upon a time, where it could be page 3 of 5, it could be page 5 of 6, but today nobody has time for this, right? If I show you what, let's say, my resume would look like in a snapshot, it's probably got another 2 lines below this and it's done. And this is covering 15 to 16 years of work experience, right? This is all that somebody has time to see. A summary, your education, your employment, and what you achieved and what you want to do next, why you are there, right? Then we move on to LinkedIn. Now, LinkedIn is a very, very powerful tool for someone who is looking to get back to work or looking to change careers, change jobs, network with the right people. India itself is the second largest market. 87% of recruiters use LinkedIn, right? And almost anybody who's going for a job interview will definitely use LinkedIn to look up their prospective interviewer, right? You want to know as much as you can about them, about the company, so that you can ask the right questions and you can present yourself with the best reasons why you are there. So once you're done with your resume, make sure that it syncs up with your LinkedIn profile. right? The last thing you want is contradictions in work experience, years, or some, one of the two not being up to date. It causes dissonance in the mind of somebody who's hiring, who's seeing a resume, who's checking you out on LinkedIn, and believe me, they will check you out, and seeing that, it's not making sense. So let's put it aside. I don't have time to sort out her confusion. Put a nice profile picture. Take a professional picture. Take a picture with a clear background, looking at the camera, not a holiday pic, not something cropped out of a family photograph. Invest that little bit of energy to make sure you have a good professional photograph of yourself there. And it's a statistic. The profiles with pictures get 14% more page views because it's a real person. You feel like you're looking at somebody. You're not looking at just a slot filler. Be comprehensive. LinkedIn gives you thousands of skills that you can choose from. Go through it and add the relevant skills to your profile. Because while you, as a LinkedIn user, may just be looking up names, hiring managers search based on skills. Right? They're looking for somebody with digital marketing experience, somebody with HR experience. They're searching at skills and seeing that somebody with these skills, with these many years of experience in this location, what are the names that pop up? And you want your name to pop up, right? So be comprehensive, use all the tools, explore LinkedIn, play around with it, and see what you can get. Highlight your recent experience. Make sure it's on top. Even if it was an internship, if it was a project for somebody, if it was your own attempt at writing or doing any kind of social work or anything, make sure that it is on top, it's highlighted, and it's something that you are easily able to talk about. Right? When you go to LinkedIn, you will see that just below your photograph or your profile picture, you can make sure your name is as it is on your resume. You give a small headline to highlight what is it, in which area do you work, and it should stand out, right? It should highlight. You can use those couple of sentences to say, I am an IT professional looking for opportunities in the digital marketing space. You can say it up front that you are looking for opportunities. That's the best way for somebody to say, okay, fine, this person is immediately available. So with that, we've covered quite a few topics on LinkedIn, resume, and how you want to project your profile. Open to any questions that you may have, and we can take it.
Thank you very much, Shubha. And trust me, I have to say that this was extremely insightful, very helpful, and I'm sure that a lot of women will benefit out of this webinar, not only the ones that are attending the webinar live, but the other ones who will watch the video later on. We will put the video on our website, on our social media pages, also on YouTube. So here's the first question from Pooja. She says, do we mention about break in the cover letter or leave it for the face-to-face interaction?
So that's a great question, Pooja. See, you've taken a break for a specific reason. And like I said, authenticity is very important. So there's no need to feel defensive about it, to feel that firstly, you can choose to go both ways. You can choose to say, and if you look at LinkedIn and if you really explore a lot of profiles, you will come across many senior professionals who in their profile, it would say career break 2 years, right? Elder care break, child care break. And then there is further work experience before or after that. So it is nothing that you need to think twice about. If you choose to put it out there, please, by all means, put it out there. If you choose not to, right, do not burden yourself thinking you're hiding something, right? You're not. The rest of your information is accurate. You have said year this to year this, year this to year this. If there's a break, it is evident for a person who's looking at your chronological profile, and they may choose to ask you about it when they meet you face to face, right? So there's no one right answer. Both work, right? If you are putting it on your resume and your profile, put it with a lot of confidence, state clearly why you took the break, or just put it as another role in your life, right? Which is exactly what it was. A very important role in your life that you had to play at that point in time as a caregiver, as a maternity break, as a geriatric care break. Just put it out there.
Okay, perfect. Somebody has just decided to scribble our screen, so you can stop sharing your screen now, Shubha. But
Okay.
my next question to you is, until we're waiting for the next one to come through the chat window, is you said that it's extremely important to, when you're socializing or when you're networking with the recruiters, the first few minutes really do count. So how do you actually make the most out of those first few minutes? What do you really prefer talking about in these kind of networking sessions?
Okay, so you're talking about when you meet when you're in an interview.
No. So just a networking session. Let's say you go out in one of the events and you come across a recruiter, and how would you? What would be your first few words there with him or
Okay.
her?
So here, like I mentioned, be very focused on what you are qualified to do, and secondly, what you want to do. Right now, they may always not be the same. Your professional qualification and the work experience that you carry may be in domain A, and now you may be looking to move to domain B. Right. So state what you have done and your qualification in a very positive tone. Right, like I said, you are an IT professional. It's not I was. Don't try to kind of bring down your own experience. Right, so say, this is what I am qualified to do and this is where I have worked. Now I have further equipped myself in this field and this is what I wish to do. Right, it really helps if you can add that bit of line to say why or how you have equipped yourself to move to a new field. Right, so if you've done a certification, if you've done an online course, if you've attended any workshops that are relevant, if you've interned with somebody in that field, slip it in there so that it adds credibility to your shift.
So
Right?
to
Because
just maybe take up an example, somebody could possibly say, I'm an IT professional. I used to work with Infosys for 10 years. I was a team leader with them or a senior manager, and these were my roles. But I've been on a break for the last 3 years, and during my break, I took up a course in analytics or a certification in big data, and this is what I want to achieve. I'm looking forward to opportunities in this field. Would something like this sound okay,
yeah.
or do you think there's more that needs to go in there?
No, that sounds perfect. You can, it covers all the bases. It talks about what you're qualified to do, and it also talks about what brings you to your new interest, because you have pursued something in that field. If there's any other reason why you are attracted to that field, because there is somebody who you looked up to, and because not always maybe you have a for something like a content writing, right? For many starters, it could just be your own personal writing, your own blogging experience, which is what makes you feel that right now this is suitable for me. This is a way that I can ease myself back into the workspace and to a professional routine, and then see where it takes me. Right. So talk about the blog that you do, or talk about the writing that you do. And if for any reason you feel that may not be impactful, talk about influential bloggers, how they inspired you, but circle around that topic. Right, circle around the fact that, listen, I know what I'm talking about. I know this domain now.
So, as you rightly said a little bit earlier on, that be forward thinking. Don't focus on, what's the past. Focus on what the future is for you. So we do have the last few, about 9 minutes left. We can definitely take in a few questions. So the next question comes from Namita. She says, I have experience in one industry, but I need to change my domain. How do I put it across in my resume?
Okay. So one question to you, Namita, would be that what is prompting that change in domain, right? That is for you to answer, but that is what will help you determine how you put it across in your resume, right? It could be, like I've said earlier, it could be because you have chosen to equip yourself through a course, through an internship, through some hands-on experience, which is what now qualifies you to pursue the new domain. right? So you put that itself in your work experience, right? Remember that every bit of work experience is not always, because it's an offer letter from 1,000+ employee firm. Your experience comes in many forms. Your experience comes through working on a project with an NGO. Your experience comes through an internship with a startup. Your experience comes because your very close friend is running a startup and you consulted for them, you helped them, you worked with them on an informal basis, right? Convert all of that into your resume to show why you now have interest in this domain, right? If someone tells me I was working in, let's say, the finance department of a corporate for 10 years, and now I want to be a content writer, you have to help them bridge that mental gap a bit, right? Somebody who's looking to hire you, it's an immediate question mark saying, what makes you feel that you are now equipped to be hired as a content writer? So you may say that I did, I looked at, I did a course through Women Restart. I did a course through Coursera. I worked with somebody informally in this space, and hence my interest. Right?
Perfect.
And we have other programs coming up where we're going to dive a little deeper into some of these aspects. You can join us there. You can chat up with us one-on-one to see how, for your specific case, we can make sure it is impactful.
Perfect. Next question is from Tarun. She's asking, what is the best way to personalize the connection request to recruiters or employers? What will catch their attention and give a positive image? So I'm assuming Tarun wants to know connection request on LinkedIn. If you send it through recruiters, how do you catch their attention? Yeah.
Lovely question, and thank you for bringing it up, because that's something that I wanted to mention. That on LinkedIn, it's very easy to sometimes just press connect and leave it at that, and that will really lie as as an unanswered request, because you're reaching out to probably people who are senior in the industry, who are experts in their field, or somebody who is just flooded with requests because of the nature of their job. So if you imagine a hiring manager or an HR person on LinkedIn, anybody and everybody wants to connect with them, right? So your name in their invitation list will just be one more. But when you do send it with a personalized note, the chances of it being noticed go up that much more, right? Even from my own personal experience, the minute someone puts a note to me, I'll make the effort to read it, right? Because you're wondering you're a little curious. You know that they've taken the effort, and that note may say, in terms of what that note should say, come to the point. Say that, I request to connect with you because you are in this field, and I am looking for opportunities in this field, and this is my qualification, or this is my reasoning, right? And I would like to connect with you further to explore opportunities. So in those one or two lines, explain that you are looking for a job. And frankly, in those one or two lines, you don't have to get into, I was on a break for X years, etc. Right now, you are a job seeker like any other job seeker in the market. Right? When the next round comes, and when you are getting into details about your background, then definitely you can proudly get into why that break and how you have come back to look at opportunities.
Perfect. I love the way you've used proudly there, because a lot of us, a lot of women, at least when we're trying to make a career comeback, we don't feel proud about our gap, our break. And I love it when you say that we should be proud about it. The next question is from Parul. What is the best way to settle down the package question, like salary expectation and all of that? And yes, and thank you for that question, Parul, because I know that a lot of women do this in their interviews. Oh, I'm not worried about the salary. You can pay me anything. I just want to get back. You know, obviously that's the sign of desperation, absolute desperation. How do you tackle that kind of thing?
Correct. So one tip, Parul, that this does involve doing the homework at your end, right? Especially if you're entering a new industry. Nowadays, there are a lot of portals, lot of sites which tell you what is the salary you can expect for these many years of experience in this industry, in this kind of role, right? Find out what kind of people this company hires. Look at who else works for that company through LinkedIn. What is their kind of experience? Where are you as opposed to their experience? Right? If they are hiring all freshers and you are someone with industry experience, right? You, even if it's not the same domain, you have corporate experience, right? And that counts for something. That's that much less training that a organization has to do with you, right? The number of freshers they hire, each one will go through days and days of, like a campus to corporate program to just explain to them how do you use email, how do you communicate in an office, how do you behave professionally. All that's all done and dusted for you, right? You're already a professional at the workplace, right? You are a trained resource as far as they are concerned, and that carries weightage. But in terms of what exact number to settle down, like Sheetal said, there is no need to say, I'm ready for whatever you want to give me. Have a rough number in mind. Also, that number depends on what are the opportunity costs for you to leave home and get back to the workplace. There is a cost involved, right? Whether it's a daycare, whether it's hiring somebody, whether it's relocating your mom to come and watch your child, right? It all has to make sense in the end, right? What you're going to step out for should be beneficial to the family as a unit. Okay. Right? Do your homework, find out information, and then have a number in mind and walk in with that.
Okay. So last 1 minute remaining. I would request all attendees to please type in their comments and let us know how did they like the webinar and was this useful, was this not? Last question from Pooja. She says, ma'am, on the LinkedIn note, I have been sending invitations mentioning about what I'm looking at, but there is no response from some of the people. How do we tackle that?
Okay. So, for any online interaction, your response rate will be a low percentage figure, right? That's a given. So we all have to, that's the nature of the medium, right? You will, and especially since you're sending it out to recruiters, they will be flooded with them. So if you send out to 100, if you get a response from 3 or 4, that's better than 0, right? Yeah. But don't be disheartened with a small number, because you just have to keep at it.
Correct. Shobha, I might have to cut you short here. I need to take this time, and thank you for making time for this. No, really, really appreciate you doing this for the community. It's extremely useful, very beneficial, and I'm highly, I would recommend anybody and everybody who's listening to this webinar to recommend it to other people in your groups, in your circles, because this is definitely going to help you all make that career come back. Shobha, any closing thoughts?
Wish each of you all the best. Be confident. You're doing a great job, and you took a break for a reason, and you're going back for a reason. Be proud of both.
Yay. Thank you very much, Shobha. Thank you so much for joining. Parul says, thank you, team. It was a very useful session. Thanks a lot, ma'am. Thank you, everybody. Have a good